This is a reminder video on how to pick up stitches when you're casting on a sleeve. This is for my small, very small jacket that I'm making for a little toy. This reminder video is associated with my last reminder video where I was showing how to do the backwards loop cast on. So I need to pick up out of that backwards loop cast on so I can continue knitting and make another sleeve. So I have 10 here on a lifeline. I did 10 backward loop stitches here. I need to pick up 10 here. If I end up needing to pick up an extra one, so be it. I'll just reduce it down a little bit more. I just want to make sure I get back down to 20. And I will be picking up 2 extra stitches for sure in the far left and the far right sides to close up the gap right here. But I just want to get my initial 10 on here. And I always use a crochet hook to pick up stitches. It just makes life a little easier for me. So 5. And just like I do with my heel flapping gusset, I like to go under 2 knitted stitches, those 2 legs. That way when I end up pulling, I don't see any gaps. And I do that on large projects when I do a cardigan or a sweater. So let me get these stitches onto a needle. And because this is so small, I may end up breaking this down from 2 needles to 3 or 4 needles to make sure that I don't get ladders, elongated stitches in the left and right sides. I noticed that was definitely happening with my first one, and being that it's a toy, I'm not going to take this apart. It's just going on a little bare. So it is what it is, but I'm going to try and avoid that here. So I want to cross, I have all my stitches. I want to pick up an extra stitch here to link the top and bottom together to make it a little bit tighter, that so I don't have a hole either. And the extra stitch will go on this needle. Using my crochet hook, if I were to pull here, I get a gap. If I pull here, I get a gap because this is this. Watch. It's one strand going across. This is this. So I need to make sure that I get stitches around these 2 to close them up. And for me, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just close the gap however best I can. So I'm just going to take one of these top stitches. I'm going to take this, leg down here, I think, and see what that looks like. And if I don't like it, I can take it out and redo it. So if I were to pull on this, not bad. I'll leave that as is. I'm just going to pull that way out so I can get it up on the needle. Tighten it up. That's an extra stitch. So now I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 11. this is my extra stitch. Move my working yarn out of the way. This is my tail. I'm just going to plop it right into that hole and pull it down and out of the way. Get my extremely long lifeline onto a needle. Pull this all the way through. Okay. So now I have the extra stitch, working yarn into play. Get my other pointed needle. And I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, do I want to purl or knit? I'm going to go ahead and knit across. I just want to make sure that I continue with the garter stitch look, garter stitch pattern that I have. Okay. Now I need to get an extra stitch on this side so I can close the gap. And I'm just going to pick and choose the best stitch possible. Sorry for all the fiddliness, but I need to be able to see what's not pulling and making holes. So I'll take this one, this flexi flip out of the way, and I think I'm going to take this stitch. Let's see what this does. Not bad. This stitch will go on the bottom needle. Pull my flexi flip back a little. Get that loop on there. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 11. Now I'm going to want to reduce back down to a full 20 stitches. I don't want these extra stitches. I just needed to close up these gaps. Pull this tail to tighten that up. Okay. I think what I might do, when working on a really small circumference, because again, I don't want the ladders, I'm going to try working on multiple needles here. And I'm trying to make them as even as possible. Really no way to make that even because it's odd numbers right now. Get my extra flexi flip here. And that's how you pick up your stitches. This was the cast on the backwards loop cast on was here, that's how you pick those up. And then we'll just knit across, or I'll end up knitting, purling in pattern for my little jacket here. So if you need to go ahead and stop because you've gotten what you need for picking up stitches, feel free. I think I might just knit a little bit more because I definitely want to decrease, but I'm going to decrease in the center where these flexi flips cross right now. I want to make sure that I keep the gap stitches, the extra ones, intact. I don't want to reduce on the left or right side. I just want to reduce in the center. That's just my personal preference. So I'm going to purl because I would consider my pickup stitches knit stitches. And these do feel twisted, so I can always flip them. And what I mean by twisted is the leg looks like it's flipping in the opposite direction, so you can always just take it off and flip it the opposite way to make it a little bit easier to purl. Or you can twist it and get even more stability out of the stitch because it's a little bit tighter. So I'll go ahead and leave this one. Let's see, that's 4. Yeah, I'll leave this one alone. Okay. And I will reduce on this needle here. By doing a purl 2 together. If my stitches would stay on the needle. There we go. Flexi flips are great, but man, they're flexy and they get in the way sometimes. Okay, so I'll reduce on this needle because I have 6. And I'm going to purl this side. Make sure I keep to my garter. When I'm doing a large cardigan or a sweater, I like to do all of my decreases right in the center of the lower part of the arm. So if this was my actual jacket for me or for someone else, I would do all of my decreases coming this way. So they would line up here on the bottom. So you would never see them on the top or on the sides, just always on the bottom. That's just my personal preference. There we go. Okay. I'm going to make this the beginning of my round because I only need need to make those decreases. So I did a bunch of pearls. Let me do a bunch of knits to make sure that garter look remains intact. These flexi flips are actually handy, especially when you're doing extremely small circumference sizes. Because if it was a double point, they'd be sticking out straight and all in the way. But at least these bend and get out of the way. You're not stabbing yourself in the center of your hand, which I have done plenty of times with double points. I think I'll just do one more round and then end the reminder video here. This part is more of just a little quiet, I guess, knit with me part. But you can see how the cast on, the backwards loop cast on, once you get into those stitches, it all just works itself out. You do get that one elongated bit, which looks like I actually did 2 spots of knit stitches. But it looks like I did the same thing on here too. And again, it's for a toy. I'm not going to worry about it. If it was on something else, then yes, I would. Let me finish out this little round. But at least I have a reminder on how to do my pickup back loop stitches. And that was the main reason for this little reminder video. And you can see it's created a nice little foundation. I'll keep going around. You can see, which is good, no ladders, everything is nice and tight when you're using multiple needles at the intersections where the gaps are. That way you don't get that elongated look going right through there. You can tell it just doesn't look like those. But yep, tiny little jacket. How to pick up cast on backward loop stitches for a sleeve.